Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Hannah and I am very excited and a little nervous about today's journey. So I'm gonna be knitting something that I have never tried before and have always wanted to do, but just always been too nervous about. And you clicked on the video, so you know I'm gonna be knitting a dress. Now, I have been told before that my videos are not very explanatory, so I'm going to be trying a little bit harder today to be a little bit more detailed about my actual planning and what goes into the knitting of this. So I'm going to be making it multicolored because I love a lot of colors, and I am using Lion brand Truboo yarn, which is bamboo yarn, because I think that it will drape really, really nicely as a dress. And it has such a nice like shimmer to it almost, which I think you'll really come to see. The colors that I've chosen is also actually why I picked this yarn, because they have so many pretty bright colors. Now I've decided to go with what I like to call the melon colors, because they all kind of remind me of different types of melon, and I think they just look so cute together. So you have yellows and oranges is like cantaloupe. I've got a few different shades here. And then you've got honeydew, some greens, and I don't know where I put the other one, but I've got a few different two different shades of pink for watermelon. And I think together they look so cute. And you might be able to tell I'm working with some scraps that I have left over from other projects, so I'm kind of also using this as a way to use up some leftovers that I have. And I'm just going to be kind of doing like random stripes. Now my favorite color is pink, so I'm going to lean pretty heavily into the pink. I don't want to buy any more yarn for this. I do have this backup yarn if I need it. I don't really know how much this project's going to take. Now, the reason I call it backup yarn is because it is a little different. I got it on clearance because it is Truboo Sparkle, and I was a little hesitant to include a sparkly yarn, but like, you probably can't tell in camera and you cannot tell in person. Like, the sparkles in this are so subtle. Like, I have to try hard to find one. You might kind of be able to see it at that angle. I don't know. So I'm not going to start off using these because I have, like, this is my regular Truboo, and it's like literally the exact same shade. But if I need it, I've got these as backup because I'm determined to use out of my stash. I decided kind of like the simplest style and probably the most wearable during the summer that I could go with is sort of like a tank dress. So I'm gonna put a picture right here. This is my like chicken scratch plan. So you can see I've got the basic outline of the shape of my dress. I'm gonna do kind of like sort of like a loose fitting pencil skirt. I really want it to be loose around the legs. I don't want it to feel constricting at all. So I factored in like a couple inches of ease around the top, and then once you get to the leg part, I've got like 6 or more inches of ease depending on where it's at. Really how I calculated this was I measured myself, and I have worked with Truboo yarn before. I'm using 3.75 millimeter or size 5 knitting needles. This is my interchangeable set, so they look tiny. And based on my knitting style, I knit about 5.5 stitches per inch. So I just took that number and then measured myself, factored in the amount of like extra ease, or if you don't knit, it's basically like how much movement do you have in your clothes? Are they really skin tight? Or do you have a lot of extra space? That car was loud. So I factored in a little extra ease for like around my hips, and then I'm angling it in a little bit around the very bottom just to kind of give it a little bit more flattering shape. Now you can probably tell from my numbers here that there's a lot of big increases and decreases, and I am a little bit worried about those being visible. I am planning on trying to do most of my increases and decreases along basically this where the side seams of the dress would be. It's going to be knit in the round, so there won't be side seams, but I basically want to keep the front and back like main visible panels free of any significant or like obvious increases or decreases. Now, I am planning on wearing this to an upcoming wedding, which gives me a bit of a time limit, which makes me a little nervous, but I do really like working with this Truboo because it is so slippery on metal needles that I feel like I can just fly. Like, it's great. So I have about a month until I need to have this done for the event, for the wedding that I'm going to. So we'll see if I can get it done. I have not even cast on yet, so here we are. Yeah, I'm excited. I feel like this is gonna be good. This is gonna go well. Okay, so I've been working on my knit dress for I think just over a week. I didn't write down like what date that I started. And I think I mentioned I'm going from the bottom up because I figured that would be the easiest way to get it done, because I'll power through like the largest part of the dress and then the top shouldn't take very long at all. So this is how much I've gotten done. Obviously it's bunched up quite a bit on my needles, so it looks a lot smaller than it actually is. But I'm really liking the colors together, and it has a great like feel and drape to it. I think it's just a really nice weight. I did decide on the bottom because I was worried about if it was too tight like around the legs when I was walking. I feel like it would bunch up in kind of a weird way. So I went ahead and made just a little like slit. So basically I just started the front and the back as separate pieces. I did my ribbing around the bottom, a couple extra inches, and then I joined both of them once I had those done. And you can see all my increases right there. They're not super pretty. I don't know, I'm hoping like after a wash, they'll kind of soften out a little bit. Actually, those aren't my increases. That's when I change yarn. So my increases aren't quite that uggo. This side I haven't changed yarn on at all, so my increases aren't bad actually. It's when I'm changing colors. But I'm feeling good about it. I really like the colors. I'm still like a little nervous about the fit because I really don't like bodycon clothing, stuff that's like really tight. And I do feel like knit dresses have kind of a tendency to be really body hugging. So we'll see. I am kind of like probably gonna make it a little bit bigger than what my initial like stitch counts were, just because I would rather have it loose than too tight. But so far I'm really liking it. I'm very pleased. So some progress update. So the wedding that we're going to that I want to wear this dress to is Saturday, and it is Thursday before. I'm not feeling very confident, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know why I decided to do this from the bottom up. Like, I remember thinking about this when I was planning it out, and I was like, yeah, I'll start with like the straps and then go down from either side, it'll be perfect, blah blah. Like, I'm thinking about it in my mind, and then when I started it, I did it from the bottom up. I don't know why I did that. I really don't. But yeah, it's making the process a lot more difficult. So I have gotten a lot done. I am essentially to like the bust. Like, it's pretty lengthy. I messed up a couple things. So I showed this earlier. These are my notes and like measurements that I took and calculations I did about the amount of stitches I should have and everything. Because usually in my experience, my plans go a lot better if I'm really meticulous about like planning ahead, basically. That the final product is a lot better if I thought about it a lot more and did measurements and notes and everything. Well, this time my notes messed me up. Basically, I was like at the hip area and I was trying to figure out how many stitches I needed to decrease from the hips to the waist, what I needed to get down to. And my hips were 300 inches. And so I was like, okay, waist needs to be down to 225. I just didn't look at them close enough though, and I didn't realize that this was like a midpoint I had made for myself. My waist actually needed to be down to this 180. And so I got to just about where my waist was gonna sit, and I was at 225. And I look back at this and I was like, I'm supposed to be at 180. So in order to make it still fit like decently around the top, I had to make like really intense decreases, which led to, and remember, I'm only making increases or decreases down the sides, but it led to this situation where I've got like, I don't know if you can tell this very well, it like bubbles out quite a bit. Now, I'm hoping, like this is how it sits. I'm hoping that this bamboo yarn is gonna save my life because it's really drapey and really heavy. So I'm thinking, okay, when I have it on, like maybe it'll be a situation of it'll just drape and be like really cute and fun. And if it doesn't, I really don't know what I'm gonna do. Cause like, what do I take it all the way apart down to the waist again? Probably. But I don't have time for that at this point. Like I said, I'm like just getting to like the bust area. So you can see this is like the smallest part of my waist, and then I'm just starting to increase a little bit more for the bust. I don't know. I'm feeling a little concerned, but I'm like right there. And it's one of those things that because I'm unsure of what it's looking like, it's making me not want to work on it because I'm not feeling good about the design anymore. I thought maybe the best thing I could do was just try it on and see how it sat, and here is footage of that. Now, it's not bad, it's not great. It creates almost like a tulip shaped skirt, so I'm kind of thinking maybe if I steam it out at the bottom, it'll help relax it a little bit and make it not quite this like oval shape-ish. Okay, so I did end up getting the dress done, and I wore it to the wedding, and here is some footage I'll intercut right here. It was so comfy, and I was a little worried about the weight of it because I used like a size 5 needle, so it is like a little bit thicker of a yarn, and it was like an outdoor wedding. It was like 85 degrees and we were in the sun, and it was 100% comfy. Like, it was super duper cool and breathable. I was honestly a little bit surprised by how cool it felt. So definitely a good yarn for summer. Now, the one thing that was a little bit of an issue by the end of the night, which I thought it would be, is that it stretched out a little bit, which I did actually plan for. The issue was that it was stretching out in areas that I didn't have time to like finish. So this is the front. So around the collar and like especially the armholes just kind of got stretched down a little bit. The front was fine. I purposely made the neckline like really high because I didn't want to have to worry about that. Underneath the arms though was a little bit of an issue because the edge of my bra started to show, which was uncomfortable, so I just kind of kept my arms down. It wasn't terrible. It was just enough that I was like a little uncomfortable. So what I want to do to kind of finish this up, because this is fine, but I know that it could look better, is I want to do what's called an I-cord around the edge, which I've never done before, but I've seen a lot of people doing recently, and it's a really nice looking way to finish a garment, and I think it kind of helps close things in a little bit more too. So I think it'll help those armholes kind of cinch a little bit. So that's the last thing that I'm going to do for this. So just to show you how much difference this made, this is before what the armhole looked like, and then I did the I-cord around just one of the arms. This is what it looks like afterwards, and I couldn't believe how much of a perfect fit it was just having that on there. If you look at the front, it even just like sits differently. The waist is exactly where it's supposed to be on the side that I've cinched the sleeve up a little bit more, so I'm definitely happy I decided to add this. And then here it is all done, and I just think it looks so much more polished like this. Very happy. So with that, I am totally done with the dress, and I am so pleased with how it turned out. Like, I think it is even better than I thought it was gonna be, especially for the first dress I've ever made. So hopefully this kind of gives you some ideas about what you could do if you're thinking about knitting a dress, and I highly recommend Bamboo because it feels amazing. During this video, I actually hit 1,000 subscribers, which is wild to me. When I started this channel last summer, I kind of just thought, you know, I get a lot of my inspiration off the internet. Maybe some other people could be inspired by stuff that I make and I could just share things, but I didn't really know if anyone would ever be interested. So if you're here and you're subscribed or you're just watching, thanks for being here, and I am excited to see you back again here sometime soon.